Welcome, latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm on in Chocobaloo, and we've got longtime fools Matt Frankel and Lou Whiteman giving a 1 to 10 rating to a Moneyball wreck, Karooooo, ticker symbol Karo. We'll rate the strength of Karooooo's business, including factors like industry and competition. A 10 is invincible, a 1 is hopeless. Matt's 8, Lou, you're at a 6.
Yeah, so this is primary. Well, there's a lot to this business, but it's primarily a fleet management business. Service including vehicle recovery, insurance, telematics, driver maintenance, fuel consumption data, things like that. They also offer a lot of O's, which we appreciate, right? But look, there's a smaller vehicle logistics and vehicle marketplace business. Those, I mean, especially on the logistics side, they're trying to build it, which I like. Important thing here is they own the tech stack. It's not just a SaaS business. So, I do think that gives them some strength. They have really done a good job of what they do. I'd note it's mostly in emerging markets. 72% of revenue is their native South Africa, another 15% in Southeast Asia, in the Middle East. I believe and the reason I'm a 6 is I believe it's going to be harder from here as they try and grow in the Western world. We'll see, but definitely strong scores on what they've done so far, and I end up at a 6.
Yeah, I'm at an 8. I agree with Lou. I'd love to see the path forward beyond its current markets. It is in Europe, but it's actually growing slower in Europe right now than it is in its native South Africa. So, what's the big path forward here? But it's really rare for a company of this size and growth rate to be so consistently profitable. It's a really solid business. There's a lot of competition in the fleet telematics and last mile delivery space, which it also operates in. But so far, the growth story has remained intact. And like I said, I'd love to see a clearer path, to the next 10, 20 years. But I agree.
For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson. Matt's at an 8. Lou, you're at a 7.
Great founder-owner story of Zak Calisto. Owns more than half of the company. Actually motivated to start this business as a way to fight the issue of carjacking in his native country, which was a big problem. And you can actually look at the crime stats, and maybe Karooooo has helped solve, or at least bring that down some. There is a history here if you go back to related party transactions. It's mostly in the past, but given his controlling stake in the business, I think it is worth noting because you are going along for the ride here, to use the pun. With his ownership, he can kind of do what he wants, just something to be aware of.
Yeah, great history of delivering profitable growth. He's been a great capital allocator, which is why I rated him so highly. He prioritized, it's really rare for a company at this stage to prioritize a growing dividend. It yields almost 3% right now. He has authorization to buy back up to 10% of the outstanding shares to really take advantage of dips and things like that. So making it a priority to allocate capital in shareholder-friendly ways is, like I said, really rare at a company of this stage.
For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Matt's at a 9. Lou, you're at an 8.
Yeah, and it's probably, 8, for the stage of life this company's in, it's probably a 10 if you're grading on a scale. These are not the financials of a young company. Strong balance sheet, profit, solid track record of growth. I worry that they are going to have to sacrifice some of that profitability if they are really going to grow in the Western world. But look, they're doing it in a position of strength. I can't say this enough. And adjusting for the size and stage of life of this company, these are really, really impressive financials.
Yeah, Lou hit the nail on the head right there. 28% operating margin, 22% revenue growth. That is a really rare combination even for large businesses. Very solid balance sheet. It's got no debt. Great unit economics. The average customer generates 9 times its acquisition cost and value for the company. 95% retention rate. There's not a lot not to like financially. But like Lou said, there are some questions about whether those margins might compress a little bit as it grows.
Those numbers are pretty fantastic, Matt. Let's talk valuation. How well will Karooooo's stock do over the next 5 years? How safe is it? Keeping in mind a 10 is a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
Yeah, I said 15% plus with a safety score of 7. It's actually one of the better combinations I've given in this category. Shares are extremely cheap right now. I mentioned the growth metrics and just how profitable it is. 22 times forward earnings with sustained revenue growth over 20%. big opportunities on both sides of the business. The last mile delivery market has a lot of opportunities as well, and is the fastest growing part of the business. Of course, if growth slowed down unexpectedly, or if margins got compressed, like we mentioned earlier, it could weigh on the stock. But if they keep executing like this, it could be a market beater by a wide margin.
So I'm at 10 to 15%. I mean, look, I don't know much about the South African logistics market, but I know the Western market that they're coming into, and they are going to have to fight tooth or nail for growth from here, because everybody that they're going to pitch as a client already has a system installed. On my top, it might sound really, really just bizarre. Why are you doing this? But that company is actually a major provider of all of these services, and it's a huge moneymaker for them. I don't want to extrapolate growth based on where they've grown before to the Western world. Still at a 10 to 15% because I still think they can dominate parts of the world and they are well run. Safety is a 6 because, look, I think with this balance sheet, they can afford to stub their toe even if they do try and, invade too aggressively. I think they're going to be fine, but I do think, and the famous last words, I think the best days growth-wise are probably in the rearview mirror and not out ahead.
Thank you to both Lou and to Matt. They've given Karooooo a strong overall score of 7.7 out of 10. Matt doesn't have a top it, but the one Lou prefers that he was talking about is Verizon, who I guess is an expert in all things last mile. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is something good, I promise. Till then, full on.
I remember their CEO telling the story of why it had five O's.
He didn't want to buy the domain name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone bought his domain name, and so he bought from 5 O's to 20. I think he bought all the longer possibilities.